I hope this is a real wake-up call for at least some of the Republicans that, like, the people that they thought were, like, independent actors are very clearly not. These guys only care about proximity to power. And hopefully this division for many of the right-wingers will be a moment of awareness that when they tell you, like, if they're lying about this in such an obvious way, what else have they lied to you about?
A lot happening this morning, and what I'm going to try to do this morning is I seek to explain the best of my ability what is going on here.
Charlie Kirk yesterday said he's no longer going to talk about the Epstein stuff, and he's going to trust his friends in the government. Remember?
Honestly, I'm done talking about Epstein for the time being. I'm going to trust my friends in the administration. I'm going to trust my friends in the government to do what needs to be done, solve it, balls in their hands. I've said plenty this last weekend.
What should Charlie's move be if he were just backing Trump? Avoid it or never talk about it? I mean, the best case scenario for Charlie is to never talk about it. But it's impossible for him to never talk about it if Trump is talking about it. Trump, ironically, is breathing life back into the story over and over again with his inability to, like, let it go, which then obviously provokes response from his most loyal fans. And Charlie, much like myself, cannot be sheltered from that. Like, Fox News can get away with not talking about certain things. Charlie, on the other hand, can't, because it's the biggest issue, and it's going to be such a prominent issue, and he's so accessible as opposed to, like, a Fox News commentator or a CNN commentator, because it's going to be all over his comments if he doesn't say anything about it. And his goal is to basically be a vessel for Trump and sometimes deliver information about what the base is demanding to Trump, and in other instances, message at the behest of Trump. So he's now stuck in this unique paradigm where he has to not talk about this shit, but then when Donald Trump talks about this shit, well, what are you going to do? You have to address it. Because now Big Daddy, Big Papi is addressing it on the main stage. So he's trying to do the same thing as, like, Alex Jones almost. But of course he is whereas Alex Jones is, like, clearly on the side of the people because he's, like, more beholden to his audience. Charlie is more beholden to the administration because he has a direct line of communication with the president.
When in regards to Epstein and the messaging around Epstein, I'm going to do my best. I may not land the plane perfectly, but I think I have something to say here that will add some context and some depth to what we are seeing. President Donald Trump repeated what he said this morning on Truth Social. President Trump said, basically right now in the press conference, some people are doing the Democrats' work talking about Epstein, and they are stupid people. I'm approximating. He said something similar on his Truth Social this morning, and he calls it...
This is so amazing. Donald Trump directly calling out Charlie Kirk's audience, and then Charlie Kirk having to, like, do Obama anger translator for Donald Trump is amazing. Yeah, go ahead, big dog. Tell us what he actually meant with this.
The Epstein hoax. Now, before we go any further, I do want to say, big breaking news this morning, John Solomon is reporting that in his sit-down interview with Donald Trump, President Trump has greenlit a special prosecutor to potentially be able to go after the criminal conspiracy around Epstein and all deep state activity. So that is a phenomenal victory. That is something that we should rejoice in. And if that is true, because it's John Solomon, it's kind of like 2 or 3 levels back, but basically going after all things deep state, a deep state prosecutor. That is a terrific development. And I would love to see, you know who I want to see do that? Ed Martin. I think Ed Martin would be a phenomenal deep state prosecutor. So let's kind of just put a part on that. Let's just put a little bit of a little plug on that, because we'll get back to it. That's a huge victory. The president deserves credit there. If we get a full deep...
Dog, you got a direct line of communication with the president. Just call him up. Call him right now. What do you mean, if it's real? He straight up texts Donald Trump's children with regular frequency. And it's not just that, but Donald Trump called him personally to be like, hey, cut it out, cut the shit out. No more Epstein talk. What the fuck are you doing? To which his response was, thank you, sir. Please, sir. I apologize, sir. And then he came out with this revelation yesterday that he's went back on clearly, where he was not going to talk about this Epstein stuff ever again.
So let's start with this. President Donald Trump is obviously upset. Why is he most upset? I'm going to go through the top 2 reasons and seek to explain it. He's venting because he has achieved a lot in 6 months against all the odds. Energy prices are going down. The border is hermetically sealed. He passed the big, beautiful bill despite a 3-seat majority in the House of Representatives. He's embarking on mass deportations. He ended a war between Israel and Iran. He took out the Iranian nuclear facilities.
This is the thing that pisses me off about Trump. Aside from all the obvious shit, like 90% of his accomplishments that these guys give him credit for are things that he fucked up initially. Like, what do you mean? He stopped a war with Iran. It's like he had the opportunity to never start a war with Iran. Like, it's so goddamn annoying where these people would be like, oh, and he's doing the tariffs. The economy has rebounded. It's like, yeah, the economy rebounded because it took a nosedive when he started with the tariffs. And then only when he backed away from the tariffs did the economy rebound and got to its previous levels before the dip.
Here's my piece of advice, guys. Don't take too seriously this whole Truth Social here. I know some people are getting fired up about this. I don't believe he was trying to insult anybody personally. His base, the people who made his movement what it is, I think is what he was pushing back on what he thinks is a misaligned press narrative.
Oh, when he said you guys are stupid for caring about this, he actually meant like something totally different. He just didn't mean that you were. Let's look at the comments. Charlie, if someone around Trump hasn't taken 5 minutes to fill him in on why this is a big deal, that should be alarming to everyone. Justice for the kids is what people want. This is more important than any politician, including Trump. He's gaslighting us. Duh. We care because this is another example of class warfare, and we're sick of the elites not being held accountable. If Trump really felt it was no big deal and made up by Democrats, then why did he make such a big deal during his campaign about it and promise either release it at all? If it's not that big of a deal, just release it all and move on. Bro, these guys do not care. Okay, that was a HasanAbi head? No, dude. We care about this because this is another example of class warfare? No. This is the reason why I said that brother, Republicans have no way of doing class politics. They don't understand it. Many Americans, liberals as well, don't have any understanding of class consciousness. They don't have any class politics. So they actually grab on to things like this as a signifier. It is a substitute for class consciousness. It's a substitute for class warfare. They don't understand that class warfare is being dished out every step of the way in every facet of their existence, whether it be their landlord raising their rent, whether it be their boss that tells them like, this is your salary and it's not increasing, whether it be price of groceries going up. They don't see it. They don't see that as class warfare, which it is. They only see this as class warfare. Jeffrey Epstein and all these elites get to do like philia on airplanes, on private jets, and then no one seems to care, and there's no justice ever served for these people. They see that as like a major part of this.
So President Donald Trump has, within his memory, he saw that his presidency in 2017 was largely taken from him in Trump 1.0 because a lot of people jumped aboard the Mueller bandwagon. And with that, he kind of saw so much of his momentum that he had from the election thwarted. When people demand that he fires Pam Bondi, he hears people demanding that he explode his admin, just like what happened in the first term. So a big question the base has is, why doesn't President Trump care as much as the base cares? So let me connect the two dots together. The base cares about this.
Bro, I never thought I see the day where Charlie Kirk is relegated to the position of like a hutch or like a sex pestiny trying to defend the Democratic incompetence. And only because like normally these guys get to have this veneer of independence from the administration because the administration is always giving things that their base wants. And now they have to just sit there and play catch up and play defense at a time when the base is directly at odds with the party. It's amazing. Of course, unlike those losers, he has a direct line of communication with people in prominent positions of power. Those guys are just doing it for free 99 for funsies because they think there's a market for this.
Because this is a rare opportunity of a sloppy operation by the deep state. The deep state conducted itself in an overly messy, sloppy way. President Donald Trump taught us to drain the swamp. President Donald Trump taught us to want to go after the deep state. So I actually think we're all agreeing on this. President Trump wants...
It's also crazy for a grown-ass man, he's my age, to be talking about another grown-ass man like this. President Trump taught me. President Trump taught us. He taught us to live. He taught us to love. He taught us to hate. Bro, this is another dude. Like, get his dick out of your mouth, brother. Holy He's giving Trump the Jesus treatment. This is cult shit. Oh my God. He's talking about Trump like Trump taught you right and wrong. Okay, he taught you to hate the deep state elite file cabal, and now he's defending it. What now? Justice Department fires SDNY federal prosecutor Maureen Comey, who played a key role in prosecuting Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, Politico. What the Hey, yo. I mean, look, she flubbed it on the Diddy but then again, Trump literally said he would entertain pardoning Diddy. I'm just saying.
To go full circle, we are caring about the Epstein story because we are afraid that if we do not lance the intelligence community bull that tried to murder him on July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania.
He's like, bro, remember when the deep state tried to murder Trump? It's like, okay, well, I guess he's trying to not be murdered now, bitch, because he's literally defending the deep state.
The president is very fired up here also because this was all done under this, almost all of the documents and all of the reporting around this was done during James Comey. It was done back in 2007 under George W. Bush. This has been thrown upon his desk. And I'm going to defend the president here on one key thing. He does have a right to be a little bit skeptical and paranoid. And I'm going to try to translate part of the Truth Social as to what I think.
Bro, 11 minutes for 11 minutes, and he still hasn't even gotten into the meat of it. Amazing.
He's saying, guys, they could have put a stink bomb in the quote unquote files that will make.
Oh my God, brother. What the oh yeah, Trump is just really scared because he's been hurt before by the deep state. So he's just scared that the deep state actually put a stink bomb in the Epstein files to make Trump look bad by saying he's directly affiliated with Jeffrey Epstein in ways that maybe is even more meaningful than we previously thought.
Me look bad. Honestly, that paranoia is not totally unfounded. On the other side, this is what I'm telling the president, both privately and publicly, is that the base cares about this, not to get you. The base cares about this, not to try to take you out. The base cares about this because they have your back. The base cares about this because they have your best interests at heart. The base cares about this because...
I love that he writes this stuff down and he has to glance down to read it. It adds to the dishonesty, the overarching dishonesty of his commentary. And also, this is him... Bro, this could have been a text message to Donald Trump. This could be a phone call to Donald Trump. You're saying this to him. So why don't you just say this to him in private? How do you think Trump's going to get away with it this time? He's not. I don't think he's going to get away with this. I think he's just going to do some crazy to try to get people not to pay attention to it. But the more they move in this direction, the more it feels like look at this. Look, Donald Trump fired Maureen Comey, who was the key prosecutor in the Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell cases. Everything that they're doing is just making people more invested in this. It's crazy. Breaking news today, the DOJ fired Maureen Comey from the United States Attorney Office in the Southern District of New York. She's the daughter of the former disgraced FBI Director James Comey. This comes 2 months after my pressure campaign on Pam Bondi to fire Comey's daughter and Comey's son-in-law from the DOJ. Maureen Comey's husband is Lucas Isaac Haroff. As I previously reported, he works for the current Trump DOJ despite a long history of being a Trump hater. He is the assistant U.S. attorney in SDNY, working in the civil division since 2019. No word yet on whether or not he was also fired today, but he should be. +1 for Blondie today. Who is Laura Loomer and why does she have this kind of leverage? She may or may not have sucked Trump's ugly penis. At least judging by the way that Donald Trump talks about Laura Loomer, she's a fiery person. She's a free spirit. She's a free spirit. Laura does what Laura will.
She's a free spirit.
Laura Loomer, my queen. She's a free spirit. How do you know it's ugly? Come on, dude. Does Trump resemble the type of person that has a nice looking penis? Does anything about the way he carries himself give you the vibes of a man with a nice looking penis?
The reason the base cares about this, again, is because we believe Epstein was an agent of the people that tried to kill Trump and try to destroy Trump's first term. President Trump thinks, though, the people caring about Epstein are part of the people that have been trying to ruin him prior. That's where I think we're actually more in harmony here. And I'm not just saying this as, trying to cope or run cover, because President
No, it's just a simple misunderstanding when he said everyone that cares about this is stupid. It was just a misunderstanding. Oh, I got it. My bad, Charlie. Thanks, man. This will surely work. This will surely work.
The president says, why are you so focused on the person of Epstein? We're doing all this amazing stuff. This guy's a creep. I kicked him out of my club. Like, I don't know, like, why are you so fired up about this? Where our counter is, we're actually not that interested in the person of Jeffrey Epstein. We're not. What we are interested in.
Why does he keep saying that? Like, no, we are interested. What the why does he keep saying, like, we're not that interested in the Jeffrey Epstein, the person? It's like, why does he keep angling it like that? It's weird. No, man, people are interested in what he did and who he did it with. Like, yeah, no, that's precisely what people want to know. Oh, my God.
And the reason why you guys are emailing me, freedom@charliekirk.com, is you say, no, Mr. President, this guy is a way. It is a skeleton key. It's a chance for us to look under the hood. It's a chance for us to say, whoop, this is the thread. Thank you. The deep state made a mistake. They were sloppy. They were messy. How did Epstein die? Where did he get his financing from? Was he a representative of a foreign government? Everything.
Which foreign government would that be, Charlie? Charlie, remember, is broaching on big no-no territory here. Even making inferences to Jeffrey Epstein being an agent of a foreign government, which is, of course, we all know which government that is. They're not talking about Zimbabwe, okay? They're talking about Israel, dog. That's what they're talking about. And that is a major no-no for any Republican. Even NPR calls the Mossad theory anti-Semitic law. Exactly. NPR's like, guys, the multiple former prime ministers of Israel were hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein because they love his vibes. Please don't say that there was any involvement with intelligence. It was because of the vibes alone.
President Donald Trump went through an entire first term. He went through an entire term where people were constantly turning on him for fake stuff. Constantly turning on him.
I mean, he didn't always hang out with the rich and powerful on account of the pedophilia, real question. Yet, no, he wasn't like literally doing pedophilia every time there was like a rich and powerful person around him. And I'm like, I don't think that. And I don't think every single person, because he had adult victims that he trafficked as well. My point is, we want evidence as to what the involvement was with all of these other people who definitely did engage in illicit behavior, especially considering that many of them were openly hanging out with him after he had already been arrested for sex trafficking of minors one time and went to prison for sex trafficking of minors. So especially the people that hung out with him after, before and after being the most significant part of this, like post early 2000s when he goes to jail with a sweetheart plea deal, the people that still hung out with him after that happened, clearly there's got to be a level of like awareness there.
At the same time, the message that I want the president to hear, both privately and publicly, is that you in the grassroots, the emphasis and the focus on this is, partly because of all the kind of back and forth of, is it up, is it down? Also, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, I guess you could call it.
He's so woke. He's saying Trump's got PTSD.
But I think part of this is just a messaging misunderstanding. And again, emails are flooded.
Oh my God. Who's he talking to? At first, I thought this was a message to Trump. Now I'm thinking this is just a message to himself. He just keeps repeating this over and over again because he wants to believe the lies that he is telling.
Is that, Mr. President, the emphasis on Epstein is truly the best intentions of your most loyal followers. Where we're not trying to score points with the CNNs or the New York Times. It's truly because we care about you. It's because we want what's best for the presidency. And one of the core campaign promises that I know.
I hope this is a real wake-up call for at least some of the Republicans that, like, the people that they thought were, like, independent actors are very clearly not. Charlie and many others actually realized this. That's why they're trying to play this, like, wishy-washy both sides narrative where it's like, oh, well, President Trump, when he called you stupid, he didn't mean it. Like, these guys only care about proximity to power. That's it. They don't care about your wishes. They don't care about your interests. They've lied to you about every single thing up until this moment. And hopefully this division for many of the right-wingers will be a moment of awareness that when they tell you, like if they're lying about this in such an obvious way, what else have they lied to you about is a question you should be asking yourself. If you're a right-winger and you're watching me right now and you're like, oh, I hate this commie bastard, this piece of shit, whatever, you know, normally I got a brave truth teller that I lean on. And these guys seemingly, maybe they up a little bit here. Implying Republicans have any capacity for any self-awareness, I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to discourage people from seeking out the truth, especially considering that there are plenty of former Republicans in this chat. This community is comprised of many people that did not agree with me initially. My position in American politics is unfortunately very unique. It's not a position that you get to hear, especially without any sort of like severe limitations or any sort of like negative lens. The things that I believe, I think if people watched and listened to charitably, many more would be in agreement with. There are a lot of people who probably came in here and were initially Republicans or even the alt-right, you know, and have slowly but surely chipped away at that kind of that worldview that they previously had. See, I was a hate watcher review. Now I don't even know how long I've been subbed. 36 month subscriber. But don't you think the left would have done the same like we saw earlier? It doesn't matter who's in power. They all lie, apparently. Yeah, no shit. My point is, first of all, they're not the left. That's the Democratic Party. This is a totally separate thing from the left. If you want to see a figure that is like representative of actual leftist politics, look at the way the Democrats have been treating him so far. Zohran Mamdani is a great example of like a person who is a leftist. There are people who have historically been on the left who have also been forced to capitulate, forced to concede, forced to basically play the role of a shepherd for the Democratic Party as well from time to time. If all Charlie Kirk cares about is proximity to power, why doesn't he appease Dems when they're in power? What do you mean? His entire... Wait, what? No, his entire livelihood is about keeping the Republicans in power. Proximity to power on the Republican side. He is, in a way, no different than like, let me think. Like, who is the equivalent of the Democratic Party? Like an MSNBC commentary person. You know what I mean? Like, or like a Jake Tapper almost at CNN. A Van Jones at CNN. Like, Van Jones is not going to suck up to the Republicans. Or a Matt Iglesias is not going to suck up to the Republicans, at least now. But they will do the sucking to the Democrats. Like, they've picked a side, and they're a loyal servant of said side, and they will very rarely separate themselves from that side. The independent media version for the Democratic Party of this is like a Harry Sasan or an Olivia Juliana or people like that, or Hutch, even though they're not even like directly related to the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party doesn't want anything to do with them because they're more old school than the Republicans are. Republicans do rely on like independent media as a ecosystem, as opposed to the Democrats that haven't until this election cycle. And now they're going to probably try to find a bunch of people who are on board and loyal servants. Yeah, look, this is what I mean. Look, here is a Democrat hatchet man, Van Jones, a servant of the elite. This is his role. His role is to basically defend Israel. His role is to defend the billionaires. His role is to shit on the real left. Okay, look, let's hear.
It would do a lot better if you clean up some of the anti-Jewish stuff that he said or anti-Israel stuff that he said. He's got to get away from globalizing the intifada and stuff like that that's scaring the crap out of the Jewish community in New York. But if he can clean some of that sort of stuff up, he's got a real clear shot. And I think the other thing,
it's so funny to say this when Zohran Mamdani won a resounding victory without capitulating even a little bit to the pro-Israel crowd. He didn't give him an inch. So why should he listen to you? Why should he listen to you now after he's won? Like, we saw that this theory that they tried to unleash upon Zohran Mamdani in the primaries failed.